Hey, what's going on, everyone? Seth Miranda here, last ex-witness on virtually all social media. And I'm here in my studio today in New York, as always. But today, I got a lot of toys, a lot of gear, a lot of things to do and play with. And I'm gonna try to make this like semi-demo with some lighting, because I got some pro photo here. But what I'm really going to do is be demonstrating the Air Direct wireless tether. So I have my girl Sheila with me, who's always delightful. We always have such good conversations, and we have all these inside jokes that no one understands. I know no one understands. No one understands. I know. It's okay though. I know. That's what I said. All right. So today I'm going to be testing out a few things, mainly because I'm going back to work shooting special effects, and because I'm shooting special effects makeup again, and I have to wear double the personal protection equipment, meaning face mask and a face shield, I can't physically put a camera to my face. My model will not be wearing any of that, so I have to double up. And what I needed to do was have something that can tether, that has the LCD screen on, so they can hold it like a schmucky YouTuber and not a real photographer, not like someone who actually is shooting for real, but a schmucky YouTuber influencer, you know? Because, you know, they don't want to tip their fedora hat too far back. They want to be able to do this, you know? So pretty much what's going to happen is the D850 that I normally use, when you go into live view and then you tether, it shuts off the LCD screen. And that happens with pretty much all DSLRs. So I told Nikon this, and I have a Z6. The Z6 is great. It'll keep the LCD screen on, but when I tether, but it's not as much resolution as I would need for commercial makeup shots. So, boom, Nikon was kind enough to lend me the Z7. You can see it right there, the Z7 right there, with a battery pack. And I mean, they didn't even question it. Within 2 days I had it in my hands, they were like, hey, we're glad you're back to work and we're happy to help you out. Take this for a while. So thank you, Nikon. Thank you so much. Speaking of which, you're looking at me on a Nikon Z50, which is the APS-C little mirrorless body in the Z line, and I'm super psyched on this thing. I'm running it off of battery power though, because there's no AC adapter for this, but once there is, if Tether Tools makes one, or if Nikon puts something out, this will be one of the best streaming cameras, hands down. Okay, so I got the grip, and I know there's no buttons or anything on this thing and all that stuff. In fact, I'm going to cheat a little bit here and take this bracket off, because I'm going to build this wireless tether from scratch for you guys. I'm trying to ignore what just happened with this live stream, and if you're watching this on replay, you missed the live meltdown that I just had. So that's why you should catch these while they're live. There's no buttons on this, because on the bottom of any other grip or pro body, you would see something like this, which is a data port. And the camera would then plug into the data port, and that's how the buttons on a grip would be able to interact with the camera and actually control something. Well, there's no data port on the Z6 or Z7. See, it's just a quarter 20 thread. So there's no buttons to be had to talk to the camera. So it's really just a battery holder type thing. I will say this, it feels really good with the grip, and it's half the weight, feels like half the weight of my D850 with the grip. And the one thing I really like about the battery grip is you have two batteries in there, you hit check, you can see that your lights go on. But while it's on, right, you can actually hot swap the battery. It's still on. It's still on. So if you're running something for a long time, you know, running a video, live stream, or maybe even doing some long exposures like a nighttime or whatever, you're good with hot swapping, and I think that's super valuable personally. Okay, so that was the Nikon spiel. So I have we got a lot of Nikon going on here. D850, Z6, Z7, Z50. Crazy, right? But what I want to do is use this. This is the Tether Tools Air Direct. Oh, there we go. And it is basically a Wi-Fi transmitter that'll let your tethering be wireless. And forever, we had like shoddy versions of wireless tethering. There's been some good iterations out there every now and then, but nothing like too solid. And there's definitely other systems out there. I'm not saying there's the only one for sure, but there have been some really bad ones like iFi cards, which is the most schmucky thing ever for wireless tethering. Anytime someone will be like, this looks too bulky, I use iFi cards, you're clearly shooting with a Canon Rebel from like 15 years ago or something. I don't know, but it's not going to handle 45 megapixel res going on here, okay? Not kind of start making laptops. I know, right? This Mac just ate it for me, but I'm hoping that we don't get this weird power draw problem again. It is only up to 11% battery, but I didn't want to leave you guys hanging. And by the way, I just want to say thank all you in the chat for staying there. Means a lot. I mean, to come into a cold chat room and try to rebuild momentum again just sucks. Does the Z7 have 3 batteries? No. The Z7 grip is actually really well on there. It actually goes in the chamber. So this is the battery door. You take it off. You click it into here, and then you have 2 batteries in the grip, and that's about it. With the D850, geez man, all these numbers and letters. With the D850, you actually do have a battery in the chamber, and then you have a battery tray. And what's cool about the battery tray is that you can put a normal battery in there. So you have 2 batteries, one in the body, one in the tray. Or you can do double A's if you were in a big bind. There's a tray that's I think like 8 double A's you could run it off of if you're in a super bind. Or you could run it off of the D5 battery, which is like the size of the tray and lasts forever. So if you want to invest in some good power, I would like to get the D5 battery at some point. I don't feel like spending money though, so there's that. Yeah, you only gain 1, so you get double battery life. You know, personally, I'm not just saying this, I have never held my grip like this. Even when I have a grip, I still just do this. So the buttons to me mean nothing. However, I'm with you. I think Nikon should have put a data port in the Z and then had some sort of control options for people that care about that stuff in the grip. I'm just not one of them. So, you know, then again, I don't care about one card slot either. So, you know, it is what it is. Different people, different workflows, different applications, different reasoning for why they make decisions with their gear. All right, I'm just giving you mine. Okay, so let's get back to the wireless tethering, the Air Direct from this. So I had this in a drawer forever. I mean, they sent this to me like right away and it didn't work. And that's because of what I was trying to do with it. If you used their software, which is Smart Shooter, I think they call it, if you had an older version of a Mac OS, it worked fine. It was at trade shows during the most interference on the trade show, working seamless, no problem. However, the problem was that Catalina Mac OS was conflicting with their direct utility app, which kept it from talking. So I couldn't actually use Capture One, despite them saying that I could, but it was because of the barrier put forward by Catalina. Well, I put it in a drawer and I said, well, I'm not using it. I can't use it with Capture One. That's industry standard. It's what I use. It's what everyone I know has to deal with, is usually dealing with when they're on sets. I mean, it's nuts that you couldn't be able to do it. So this this was sitting doing nothing, and then I got an email saying that Air Direct Utility Beta is out and it will work with Catalina. And I said, no way. I loaded up the beta. I got it to work with Catalina into Capture One, no problem. And I said, that's it, I got to go live. I didn't shoot anything real with it. I just took a few frames in my apartment. But I will say that I was using a D850 and the Z7, and both cameras are very high res. We're talking 45 plus megapixels. And because of that, it wasn't able to throw a full RAW file. It actually could, you had to dumb it down to a lossless, compressed RAW file. You couldn't just go straight RAW. That's not the biggest deal. Lossless compression isn't a bad thing at all. However, the Z6 at 24 megapixels, RAW, JPEG, no problem. So it can do RAW files, and and I think I clocked it at about just under 10 seconds a shot for raw files to travel to my laptop wirelessly. So yeah, it was very surprising that it worked so well, and I can only imagine it getting better. One of the things that you guys should know is that it uses a Canon LPE6 battery, which is probably like the most standard of the Canon batteries. So if you wanted to, you could get a third-party battery that's even cheaper than the Canon batteries. Or if you're a Canon shooter, one of your batteries can just be sacrificed to the Tether Tools AirDirect, and you're good to go. And it also can take DC power. So right here, you can actually plug it in if you're running something for a long time. If you have a power bank and you're in the field and you just want to keep it going, you can actually do that. So that's really well thought out, and it is USB-C. So along with the battery and the battery charger that comes with it, if you don't have this battery system, you also get all the cables you could want, which I got to give a lot of props to Tether Tools, because there's other companies out there that will send you something with 0 cables. Black magic! Oh, geez. Sorry. ATM Mini? Oh, I keep sneezing. I'm sorry. The fact that came with no, sometimes they just don't come with HDMI cables when you need them, right? Black magic. So I thought it was great that Tether Tools, they make cables, so they give you these like 6 or 8 inch, I don't know what they consider these, cables, and they're all USB-C to go to the AirDirect. But then the other side is pretty much everything you're going to need, which is USB 3.0 for my D850, mini, micro, USB-C, which is what I'm going to use now, is USB-C to C, and that will get my Z7 up and running. Now, the other thing that was alarming to me when I first opened up the box was I said, well, it's a cold shoe. What am I going to do if I'm shooting studio strobes and I need my trigger in the shoe? Well, right off the bat, I was like, well, I need to get an L bracket. And it actually comes with this cold shoe. They sent this to me with this cold shoe on it. And, oh, it's upside down, sorry. This cold shoe that can go onto an Arca plate. Now, I had to find an L bracket, and the one that I found that worked the best, that fit nicely and was priced decent, was Three-Legged Thing was the one. And it actually comes in pieces, so you can actually take it apart. So I'm wondering if Tether Tools down the line will make a base plate that's universal, and maybe they make a few versions of the L bracket, because this is specific to how much clearance you need for the ports on the camera. So yeah, I have to open the window. So I'm going to mount this to the cold shoe like so. Oh, let me open it up first. I'm going to mount this to the cold shoe like this, and then I'm going to tighten it down. And now I have an L bracket with this wireless tether on it, which is pretty cool. You have to buy the cold shoe separately, which they sent me that. Oh, they didn't. I didn't know it didn't come with it. Okay, well, it came with mine. Not to flex it all, but it came with mine. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to mount this to my Z7 that has an FTZ adapter, a 24-to-120 f4 lens, and a battery grip. So this thing is like fully kitted out. And it's still ridiculously light for what it is. It's kind of crazy. Which is good, because today I'm going to shoot schmuck style like a YouTuber and not, myself, which sucks. It's really sucks, but I'm happy to go back to work. So I'm going to open up the ports, take open the flap. Then I'm going to put this down, and I'm going to start screwing this into the quarter 20. Are there any questions while I get this going? Because I'm hoping the next part of this goes pretty seamless. But on the Z50, there's a small rig plate that lets me see the screen. So I'm actually looking at the LCD screen. And underneath it is this magnetic little tool that lets you screw down a quarter 20, which is awesome. Because I never have quarters on me anymore, because everybody's using Venmo, Cash App, and all that other stuff now. And yeah, I'm all set to go. So this is pretty much how it goes. Now we just got to connect the, I'm going to put this back. It's like taking a quarter out of your ear, like, oh, it's like, what? Is this it? I'm going to put this back under there. Magnetic to the bottom. I love it. Absolutely love it. Okay, USB-C to C. I'm going to plug it into the USB port on the AirDirect. I'm going to snake it in front of it, and I'm going to just seat it right there into the USB. And there we go. It's like really nice and tight. Nothing to get caught on anything. It's like tucked in there. How long did Tether Tools take to release the software for compatibility for Catalina? Honestly, considering that we just went through quarantine and all craziness, they had this thing at WPPI, which is February. They had it at Imaging, I believe, which was January. And now here we are in August, fully ready to rock. So, and it was working. It just wasn't working with Catalina. So they worked on it. They got it done. I got to tell you, I didn't think they were going to do it. So props to them. All right. Oh, let's sit down for a second. Now what we have to do is connect it via Wi-Fi in the ADU beta, which is the app that you need to have running before you go into the software you're going to be using. For me, it's Capture One. For you, it might be Lightroom or Smart Shoot or whatever you're using. I don't know. But I'm using Capture One. So let's get that going. I'm going to switch this guy on. And once I switch it on, you can see there's a bunch of lights blinking. What you want to have is the second light, the blue light, to be constant and not blinking. So let's go over to the Mac. You guys should be looking at my Mac. So I'm going to go into the AirDirect utility right over here. And now it's looking for if this is around. Well, now it sees it, but it says I have to connect it to Wi-Fi. So I'm going to take it off of my studio's Wi-Fi. And I want to do this in real time so you guys get a sense of what it is all about, because I think that's like the biggest unicorn of it is how long does it take? I don't see the direct, so I'm going to turn my Wi-Fi off and back on and just give it a quick refresh. Do you know the price for this? The AirDirect is $350 US. So, you know, it's an investment, but it's connecting to the AirDirect already, and we're connected. And now AirDirect is spinning and trying to find, so we're connected, right? I can bridge it to the Wi-Fi in the studio. I'm not going to, because I just don't want to complicate things. We already had some tech issues on the first part of me trying to go live today, but you can actually bridge it to a Wi-Fi, so that's already happening there. Does the camera see this as an actual tether link, thus not store the pics on the card? Yeah, it's straight up tethering. It is straight up tethering. Just without the cable. Okay, so let's go into Capture One. Gonna open it up. And now I'm going to close this session. I'm going to AirDirect test. I'm going to open it up. Hopefully it sees the tether. I think this is from a tech. We had a real bad glitch before. My stream went down. So I'm actually going to give this thing the benefit of the doubt, and I'm going to start a completely new session. I'm going to go onto my desktop and go new folder. I'm going to call it ADU2, hit OK. I'm going to go to new session. I'm going to go to desktop, going to go to ADU2, hit choose. I'm going to hit OK. And then let's start up this. So it's saying no camera detected. Am I connected to the Wi-Fi? I'm connected to the Wi-Fi. And you're now connected to your AirDirect. Huh. Oh, you know what? Their camera isn't on, guys. I have to turn the actual camera on like a schmuck. See? Now look. Now there it is. It sees the Z7 right away. I'm the schmuck, everybody. I'm the schmuck. So there it is. I have camera controls right there. You can see that I can control all of it if I needed to. I can actually take a picture from there. So let's just point it at, you know, the windows over here. It's going to be overexposed probably or whatever. Take a shot. And with RAW, I'm on JPEG large. So that's how long it took. I turned it off. I know. I'm a schmuck. That's what live is. let's go into the camera and put it on straight up RAW. I'm going to go into RAW. So this is how long it takes for a RAW. Look, I'm going to point right at Sheila. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I don't see anything. Oh, there it is, 10, right there, done. There she is. I didn't focus on her, but whatever. So that's a RAW file wirelessly. Now it says it can go up to 200 feet. Well, how about I go right up to her. What happened to my autofocus here? Oh, I hit another switch, didn't I? There we go. There we go. So I walk up to her, I take another shot. What do we got? Like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There she is. Boom. So we have a wireless tether. I can physically just walk anywhere, and I'm 200 feet. I can go up to 200 feet, they're saying. Right now, I am about 15 feet from the computer. Yeah, I admire her sticking with the hair. So yeah, it's wireless, and it's going to take a little bit. But it's there. I mean, it's totally there. So why don't we connect some strobes and start building a little bit of a setup? Yeah? By the way, I think that was totally the issue with the stream before. I think that the dongle I was powering through wasn't feeding enough power quick enough. And because of that, the laptop got hotter from the power draw, thus throttling the CPU. And now we're totally clean right now. So just keep that in mind if you're out there trying to do stuff like this. I would like for her to take some time and use some makeup though. Oh, geez. All right, so I have these two B1Xs, and I'm not going to use any modifiers. I'm just going to go real simple, and I'm going to do a nice, soft, kind of organic looking light. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take these, bounce them into the corner of the, not the corner so much, but more like the, where the ceiling meets the wall or whatever you want to call that. So I'm going to put them equal distance. Well, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn these on before I do what I just did with that Nikon. But that's the other thing I want to point out is that I can turn this camera off and it finds it again right away. It stays linked. It's pretty much as quick as tethering with a cable in Lightroom. Yeah, Lightroom is slower. Cable to Capture One is definitely half that time, if not faster. Hence my question, could you run it through an access point, thus not being dependent on being in the neighborhood of the laptop? That I don't know. I don't know. But you need, the app is basically trying to find the hotspot that's built into the unit. So I'm guessing. All right. So I'm going to walk these in, and pretty much what's going to happen is I'm going to have a nice giant wash of light. These aren't too equal, actually. Come on, atta girl. Okay. Let's put a this is not on, this is just my trigger for today. And let's shoot like a schmuck from the LCD and tether in and see what we get. Oh, there we go. Okay. Doesn't the MacBook have a dedicated power supply? What are you talking about? I ran out of ports, so I plugged it in through a USB-C and USB-A dongle. Those are loose shots if you shoot a serial of 5 pics or so. Well, let's take a look. I'm going to shoot in RAW, lossless compression, not full RAW, all right? And let's just get a baseline for what we're trying to shoot. So I'm going to put it into TTL. I'm going to change my focusing mode to single point. And I am going to see what we get. Actually, what's my metering on? My metering is on spot metering because I just care about her exposure. Let's just see what this looks like before we start worrying about a bunch of other things. So it's sending it over, sending it through the air. And there she is, super soft, right? Super soft and a lot of resolution. What I'm gonna do though is actually, what you're seeing is partial daylight. I'm gonna change my f-stop down to like f8 because it's not seeing just the strobe, which is kind of bothering me. And then we'll worry about this. 3, 4, 5, 6. The drummer in me has you count the second counting actually. So there you go. See, before this was daylight creeping in because I didn't do a black frame, right? I was shooting at the light exposure at f4. So if this is f4, this is f4, that means that some of this daylight was creeping in my shot. At f8, now we're just seeing the strobe. You can even see in the back, you see all this? That's from the daylight. This is only the strobe. So real soft, clean light on her, right? Real nice, a lot of resolution, we like that. So now, let's see what happens when we try to go for a little bit of speed on this. All right. I don't know how many that was. 8? I don't know. That's 1. Here comes 2. You can see up here, by the way, when Capture One is thinking, there's a circle, a loading circle that comes in. So right now, there it is. You see, like it shows up as it's loading. So it's actually almost like ADU is grabbing it and then Capture One sees it. Otherwise, we would see that circle there the whole time. So it's not Capture One thinking. It's the Tether Tools software grabbing it first, I'm guessing. That being said, that means there's probably room for improvement. So the raw transfer is really more like 7 seconds. That isn't bad for Wi-Fi. So you just saw how many of these get... I tell you what, I'm going to take shots of her around her face. That way we can actually see in real time what these load like. Because right now you can't really tell from like the same shot over and over again. So let's do that. Is it still loading? All right, let's start from the left. Can we set it up to only see JPEG but still transfer the raw files as well? Yeah, you can. That's in Capture One. Capture One, you go into View, you go into Global Filters, and you say always hide raw or JPEG, whichever one you're looking for. However, it does look for the raw file first. Therefore, it looks like the JPEGs are taking a minute to load. It's kind of obnoxious a little bit. So you're seeing in real time that it's how it's loading. I've had that problem to my background as well. The MacBook takes 85 watts. Most dongles don't let through more than 50 or 60. That makes total sense. I mean, if you look up here, I have 14% battery right now because this thing was eating it. So, oops, hold on. If I do this, so that was 6 shots, loaded pretty decently, you know? Let's try it on JPEG. Let's see how fast it goes on just JPEG. Not that you would want to do that, or you want to do RAW plus JPEG. I'm going to do JPEG first, then we'll do RAW plus JPEG. So, come here, my darling. Real clean light, just real easy clean light. So these are just JPEGs. Although it looks like I'm missing a few, huh? Am I crazy? Did I not shoot like a few of these? And I'm only seeing 2. Where's the rest of them? No, I'm just kidding. They're all back here. I started over here. So this is 5 shots. I guess I missed one. But that was pretty fast. I mean, if I do, let's do it like this. Horizontal, vertical, horizontal. Oh, I keep forgetting. I'm not supposed to shoot from the viewfinder. What am I doing? I'm supposed to practice shooting like a schmuck. I forgot. I'm supposed to shoot like this. I'm supposed to be like, you know, man, if you buy my presets, you too can be cool, man. You know? Oh, it's so inspirational. Hit like and subscribe. Oh, buy my PDF file that'll teach you how to do nothing. You know, that kind of stuff. Honestly, that kind of sucks shooting like that, to be honest. But it's what people like doing. So it's pretty good. Now let's try RAW plus JPEG. RAW plus JPEG fine. JPEG is way quicker. It's way less information, right? So if I start doing RAW plus JPEG, RAW plus JPEG, there you go. Nice clean light. If you wore a fedora, it would help you remember to use the LCD. I know, right? Well, I'll tell you this. Once I get that plastic face shield on, when I go back to set, I'm definitely going to feel this. So yeah, I mean, you're looking at the actual RAW versus JPEG. This is not bad, especially if you're shooting RAW plus JPEG. By the time the time is up for the RAW to load, you at least have a JPEG in there. So not bad, right? Now what I'm thinking is, oh, the light just changed in here dramatically. So this is straight up, oh God, I can't stand shooting like this. This is so unstable, it's crazy. So this is straight up, I'm gonna take this off and put it right into RAW. This is just straightforward, right? But you see how it's very, so now with the light, Seth's first batch of shots was 8-10 seconds, so the first one should have a couple seconds after the 8 seconds of shot. The trans time for shot, though, is more like 7 seconds. So the other thing is you actually have camera controls in this thing. I mean, I can literally change my f-stop. So my lights are in manual right now, right? So if I change my f-stop to like F13 in the camera and I shoot, you'll see how much darker it gets because I changed it from the tether wirelessly. So I could have my camera away from me, right? Look, see, it got way darker. Now if I put it back to F8 over here and I shoot like this, so I have camera control too, which means you can totally have your camera somewhere else, totally remotely, while you have the DC power on this, meaning you're completely powered remotely, and you could just run a wireless tether the entire time. How fast is your internet connection speed? What difference does it make? So do you fully trust to send all images on a paid shoot? Considering I've only been using it for, what, 10 minutes now, I don't put anything into play, especially new technology, into a paid shoot until I've done a legitimate day or two with it. I mean, I'm on 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi, so it does have the option of 2.4 or 5, which is great. All right, so if I were to take a quick shot of her, I hate shooting like this, but take a quick shot of her like this, right? It's super flat light. Now, I want to mimic a little bit closer to the window pattern, meaning it's coming from this direction towards her. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this light and I'm going to point it towards this part of the wall so that it washes the same direction as the windows. But I'm going to turn this one down so it's just a fill light. Before I do that, I have to get an exposure for this light. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into TTL, I'm going to turn off this head, and then I'm going to go back to the Mac screen. We're going to shoot her like this now. That's just one light, which it didn't even change the power that much, so it won't even be that big of a difference. But so that's more like window light. Now to even it out just a touch, I'm going to reactivate this one, and I'm going to take it down a stop and a half. That way, because they were at the equal power, right? So if I just take it down a stop and a half, that means my shadow density will still be there, but it won't be as drastic. And let me get this together. I mean, there's definitely a noticeable difference in, so flat, directional, and then cleaned up just a touch. So you see how this one over here still has the organic feel of the one in the middle, but we just clean up the shadows a little bit. So if someone said, hey, could you get us like a lookbook and make it look like natural window light? That's kind of how I do it, right? Is I'd make a direction from a window, but then clean it up with a fill light. So one light's pointed this way, one light is straight, and that's basically a key light over here, and then on axis fill basically from the other bounce. A whole lot faster than Lightroom with a cable. Is Lightroom really that slow? I haven't used Lightroom in a long time. I thought it'd be something to do with the raw file speed, the internet connection. I mean, no. The internet is, all this is doing is making its own Wi-Fi spot. It's not using internet at all. It's just, I mean, it's not using an internet network at all, I should say. It's using this hotspot to relay the file to my computer via Wi-Fi. Does everyone get what's happening here with the light now? I feel like I'm on like the longest delay ever. But yeah, I mean, you would think that the one on the left is kind of like, oh, this is nice and clean and even. But then it's like, yeah, but then look at how much more sculpt you get out of this, right? And then when you clean up the shadow density a little bit, you really get a nice look. So I'm into it. 6.14 Lightroom is slow. I mean, Capture One is a tethering software. I mean, that's really what it is. The Tether Tools info says the range is 60 meters. That's, yeah, it's like 200 feet. Even if it's less than that in real life for handling remote cameras, that it is, right? YouTube delay is painful for live streams. Absolutely. I understand what you did with the light. All right, cool. So yeah, I mean, I just wanted to not make it about the lighting so much this time. But having said that, it's one less cable I don't have to worry about ripping a laptop off of a stand, someone tripping over, or worse, ripping out of a camera and breaking the port, meaning I'd have to get it serviced. And the minimum cost of a port being destroyed on your camera is $400. I've never seen it cheaper than that. I had one that cost me $800 because they have to replace the board that it's attached to inside the camera. Though I do use a tether block to not have that happen. A port on a laptop or a laptop flying off of a shelf or something, that's all a problem, right? Not to mention, what if your cable just goes bad, right? If I have this in my bag, all it takes up is this much footprint. This is now my backup should I need it. It's always there. So I would totally keep this in my bag, you know, and just get myself through a shoot. If there was a reason that I couldn't run a tether to a client or something, you know, we're on location, they're over there, I'm on point B, makes sense. If I need to put a camera super high up on a rig for some crazy reason, I have that ability. You know, people that are going like, oh man, you know, what if you lose the transfer data? What about a drone, man? There's plenty of information flying through the air with a drone, and you're not so worried about that, right? But I get it. It's a commercial shoot and you're worried about it. I am too. I'm not taking this to a full-on job yet. I just got it, but I thought you guys should know it totally works. It totally works. The only thing that I can't do with it is full-on non-compressed RAW files on a high-res camera. But if I took this and I put it, actually, you want to do that? I wonder if it can actually handle that. Let's find out together. I'm going to put it on the Z6. And on the Z6, we'll see if it, one, sees the Z6 after, it sees the Z6 after already being protocoled for a Z7, right? There's that. And I'm going to unplug this. I don't know. We'll see. We'll find out together. Highlight photo transmission for sports. Absolutely. Absolutely. Remote cameras for concerts. Are you kidding me? Those guys would love this. So I'm going to take this off here. I have no idea what this Z6 is set to be honest with you. I'm going to put it on a Z6 and I'm going to shoot a full uncompressed RAW file with it. So this is half the resolution. Let's see how fast that works, right? Let's see. All right. When this first got introduced, I called it out on Adorama Rewind, and some guy with this really schmucky avatar, by the way, gave me a whole thing. It's like, oh, that thing is ridiculous. Look at the size of it. Cam Ranger this and blah, blah, blah that. It's like, dude, it's okay. You don't have to be mad that there's something else out. It's okay. It's okay, sweetheart. It's okay. Breathe. We'll get through this. All right, so I'm going to set this to f8. I'm going to go to ISO 100, and I'm going to set this to like a 1/60th, I guess. Let's go to my white balance, make sure I'm at the same white balance. Okay, white balance. I'm going to go to the K, hit that, hit OK. Go to RAW file, hit OK, and picture control is standard. Hit menu, and let's do this. Does it see the camera? It absolutely sees the camera. Look, boom, there it is. It went from a Z6 to a Z7. And now let's shoot. So these are RAW files, uncompressed. Wow, that was actually pretty quick. So yeah, there you go. Oh, is it RAW plus JPEG? Is that what I'm on? Yeah, I'm on RAW plus JPEG. No, I'm on RAW. No, I'm on RAW. I am on RAW. These are the rest of... No, that can't be it. Oh, the file numbers are different because it's a different camera? Is that what it is? Let me see. Let's see. See what it's doing. If it's transferring over there. I have no idea where these files are going. I think I just confused the hell out of it. Oh, there they are. There they are. So they're coming in. They're just all screwy because I changed the camera and now the file names are all screwy. Yeah. I have a 1DX, a D5, D6 have network ports that have to be connections to servers, but for small gigs this would be great, no wires. Yeah, honestly, I wish all cameras had Ethernet ports on them. Click in and you're ready. I think it'd just be amazing, but for some reason we never went for it. So this is the Z6, and let's find a Z7 version of that. I don't know where I shot that same kind of photo. I guess this one, right? Although it's a JPEG. Here, I guess this one. So, did I not shoot it sharp? Is that what's going to happen now? Okay, so that's a Z7, and then this is a Z6. So you can actually see how the crack starts getting pixelated on the Z6 over here. And then this is the Z7. So it's double the resolution on the same crack on her eyelid, right? Kind of interesting, right? Don't forget internal memory card. What are you talking about? What are you guys talking about in there? Would a Bluetooth connection not be faster than Wi-Fi? The problem with Bluetooth connection is, one, the range, and two, it's about pairing. So you have to deal with a lot of they're not all, so there's Bluetooth like up to like I think 4.0 now. Bluetooth itself is super specific. With the Wi-Fi, I think you have more of a universal use. So let's say I use a rental computer. It's way easier for me to connect to it than with Bluetooth that has 1,000. It might have been connected to like 60 different ways, you know? How is the battery life on it? I assume it has its own unless it's running off the camera battery. It's running off of a Canon LP-E6 battery. So I don't know if there's a way to check the battery. That's a good question, actually. Oh, no, there is. So I think that this green changes as you're using it. So it'll turn, I think it turns yellow then red. But that's the difference in resolution right there. Kind of crazy, right? You can actually see the pixels happening over here. Right? This crack right here versus this crack right here. Look at that. Kind of nuts, right? Yeah, Bluetooth is like cool for small amounts of information, but like massive amounts, like 45 megapixels, 100 megapixel files, 100 megabyte files? No. I mean, sound, audio for headphones, I mean, you're talking about kilobytes, nothing major. But legit, this is kind of cool, actually. That's the same crack on her eyelid. Same crack on her eyelid. And you can see how much pixel breakdown happens on the Z6 compared to the Z7. Isn't that crazy? Seth, you could use an ancient photographer trick of a photo of your hand or a black frame to separate these batches. Oh, that's true. Mike, I'm kind of flying by the seat of my pants right now, and not for nothing. This whole stream was melting down on me before we even got into this. Stupid question, are you using autofocus or manual focus? Autofocus. So, I mean, this thing is autofocusing on an all-white, like not human thing. It's just like seeing one color that's reflecting back like crazy. I think it's doing a pretty good job, personally. Oh, I'm even using face detection on the Z50 over here. But yeah, so here's what I'm gonna do. We just went through all this. I'm gonna flip over to Twitch now. We're gonna continue this demo over on Twitch. So hit me up at twitch.tv/lastxwitness. Let me put that in the chat, and we'll go over to there, okay? twitch.tv/lastxwitness. So please join me over there. We'll finish this up over there. I'll see you guys in like 5-10 minutes tops, okay? I'll see you guys in a few minutes. Later, guys. Thank you so much. I'll see you. I'll see you later. I'll see you later, which is like 5 minutes from now. Bye, guys. See you in a little bit over on Twitch.